Good morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Thursday, January 13th, 2011. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. It's 4:30 p.m. in London, 12:30 in Hamilton, and in Mexico City, 10:30 a.m. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL Instant Mail address is CATEX-TV. Last night in the United States, there was a eulogy prayer service in front of 18,000 people at an auditorium in Tucson, Arizona. The President of the United States spoke, as did a number of other officials. The program is probably available on YouTube by now, and I would suggest you go watch it. It was of great interest. Now to our main news. We'll go to Australia again. Floodwaters in Brisbane, Australia's third largest city, have peaked at a level far lower than initially feared. The wave of water that threatened to inundate large areas of the city peaked today at about a meter or 3 feet below the high that officials had feared. If it had hit that very high level, it would have affected about 36,000 homes and businesses. The police said the Brisbane River has now reached its peak, citing a Weather Bureau water gauge in the center of the city. It recorded a flood depth of 4 3/4 meters. That's about 14 plus feet. The swollen river was expected to hover around that level for about an hour before slowly receding. According to a weather forecaster in Brisbane, Brett Harrison, he said, "We still expect it to be above major flood levels until sometime tomorrow and then remain high over the weekend." They had been predicting that it could hit 5.45 meters, and that would be a whole 3 feet plus higher than it did hit. The water levels are already dropping, commentators are saying. Quote, "I think we're going to be seeing this ongoing peak for most of today, but then the waters will recede quite quickly." Widespread damage is still expected. The swollen river had already burst its banks in some areas and engulfed large parts of the city. Some parts of the city, as we mentioned yesterday, had such water at such depth that it obscured the tops of traffic lights. Insofar as the overall damage for our second story, the economic impact as a result of the Queensland floods could reach 13 billion Australian dollars. This is according to JP Morgan Chase. This would equate to a 1% impact on the Australian economy. The government of Australia has already indicated that this could postpone any increase in interest rates. For the insurance sector, it's being seen as a 1 billion plus event. The mayor of Brisbane said that 12,000 homes and 2,500 businesses in Brisbane have been completely flooded, with another 14,000 homes and 2,500 businesses partially underwater. The final death toll could reach 100. In Grantham, a small town near flash-flooded Toowoomba, which got hit over the weekend, about 40 of the community of 300 people are still missing. State Premier Anna Bligh said that Brisbane looks like a war zone and that about 70 towns and cities had been affected throughout Queensland. In Brazil, there have been flooding there. Survivors of mudslides in mountain towns north of Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo recounted horrors of watching their homes swept away by mudslides. TV reports and state officials are saying that the death toll in the slides has climbed above 350 people. 50 people are still missing. Torrential rains that have hit Rio State since the weekend have caused widespread and massive mudslides. This is all occurring about 65 miles north of Rio and very close to Sao Paulo. In Alaska, the operator of the 800-mile Trans-Alaska Pipeline says it has received government approval to restart it. This is 3 days after they shut it down because of a leak near a pump station at Prudhoe Bay. The Alaskaya Pipeline Service Company said the plan is to restart the pipeline and warm things up to prevent ice and wax from building in the line. The company says that federal regulators gave the green light yesterday to do what's being described as an interim restart. Pipeline delivers about 13% of the United States' domestic oil. And just almost acting as if, don't forget about me too, the largest volcano in Europe, Mount Etna, excuse me, which hadn't had any activity since 1992, erupted for 2 hours last night. It's located in Sicily. Sent a little stream of lava down the eastern slope of the mountain. Nobody was hurt. It ended up causing the shutdown of the Catania Fontana Rossa airport, which shut down overnight, causing some diversion of flights. As I mentioned, the last time Mount Etna erupted was 1992. The stock market in New York is down about 13 points. We'll go to a word from our sponsors. AIG has agreed to sell its Taiwanese life subsidiary, Nanshan Life, for about $2.16 billion in cash. It's going to be selling it to a Taiwanese group led by the industrial conglomerate Ruintex Group. AIG is selling 97.57% of its stake to Ruinchen Investment Holding. That was set up to bid for Nanshan. That group in turn is composed 80% by the Ruintex Group and 20% by a Taiwanese shoe manufacturer called Po Chen Corporation. And neither Po Chen or Ruintex have current insurance operations. However, Robert Benmarsh, President and CEO of AIG, said the participants in the consortium enjoy an excellent reputation in Taiwan. Ruinchen offers strong operational and funding capabilities and possesses a clear ability to satisfy the strict criteria that governed AIG's bid review process. Mr. Benmarsh didn't say anything about the shoe manufacturer. Insurance broker Lockton has received approval from the China Insurance Regulatory Commission to open a new branch office in China. They're going to open it in Beijing. It's going to operate as a full-service broker offering specialist insurance and reinsurance services. Lockton's focus will be developing professional liability, property and casualty, and international insurance in and around Beijing. And here's some interesting news from Tallahassee, Florida. Citizens Property Insurance, Florida's last resort property insurer, would require instituting a rate hike of 55% to become, quote, actuarially sound. Actuarially sound is the standard requested by the newly elected governor of Florida, Rick Scott. According to testimony in front of the Florida legislature yesterday, the Citizens CFO Sharon Binham said that Citizens currently has enough cash and reinsurance to absorb losses from a 1 in 10 year or a 1 in 25 year storm without having to charge any assessments. But in the event of a 1 in 50 year storm, all privately insured property owners, that's everybody in the state, not just Citizens insured, would face assessments of around 10% of their current premiums. The governor has called on Citizens to become actuarially sound as the state-run company has grown into the state's largest property insurer. It has about 1.3 million policyholders. According to the statutes, they can only raise their rates by no more than 10% a year. Well, good luck with that, Governor Scott. Well, our final story, and I'll disclose that Market Forum is a client of CATEX, and Market Forum is a recipient of a large investment from Great America Group. Here's a picture of Cincinnati's newest building. It's the largest and tallest building in Cincinnati. It's the 41-story, 665-foot Great American Tower. And it opened yesterday. It's the tallest building in Cincinnati. AIG and its parent, American Financial Group, have signed a 15-year lease of about 500,000 square feet. The tower cost $322 million to build. American Financial Group has leased floors 8 to 27. There's no floor 13. And they've also leased floors 39 to 41. Tower and land is owned by the Port of Greater Cincinnati Development Authority. Western Southern, the railroad, holds the primary lease. The city of Cincinnati contributed a little bit under $4 million and $54 million in tax increment financing. So, Great American has a nice shiny new headquarters. Congratulations to them. Cincinnati's a wonderful town right there on the banks of the Ohio River. We wish them well. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.